Alright, what's up wrestling fans? Brian here with a quick recap of a couple of different things that went down today. Not only on Dynamite, but also on MLW Fusion, as well as Ring of Honor's official YouTube channel. On Ring of Honor's official YouTube channel, we saw the debut of a segment that they're going to be doing every Wednesday night on their official YouTube channel, as it will be Women's Wrestling Wednesday. And on this week's match featured a tag team match involving four women, all looking to make a statement and impress Ring of Honor officials to put them in the Women's Championship tournament that will be taking place, I believe, this summer, where a Ring of Honor Women's Champion will be crowned. And in this tag team match, it was Laney Luck teaming up with Hyann, taking on Rock C and Max the Impaler. And this match ended in a time limit draw. So there was no winner in that one. Then we move on to Dynamite, where in the opening match, Brian Cage defeated Hangman Adam Page. We heard from the Elite. We saw the Young Bucks are victorious over the Seidel brothers. Afterwards, they would be confronted by SCU, Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels. We heard from Jade Cargill. We saw Orange Cassidy defeat Penta El Zero Miedo. The Pinnacle and the Inner Circle had their parlay ahead of next week's Blood and Guts matchup. And during this segment, we found out that the Pinnacle will have the advantage in that match next week. We had a Michael Nakazawa, Eddie Kingston, Kenny Omega, and Jon Moxley in-ring segment that would lead to a match being made for next week, in which Kenny Omega will team up with Michael Nakazawa to take on Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. We had a Taz interview that would be interrupted by Christian Cage. We saw Chris Statlander defeat Penelope Ford. We saw Nick Camarado, Aaron Solo, and QT Marshall defeat Lee Johnson, Billy Gunn, and Dustin Rhodes with the help of Anthony Ogogo. After the match, a brawl broke out. QT went back to the Factory Express bus, and he would be attacked by Cody Rhodes, and it would end with Cody and QT doing battle on top of the bus, where Cody would lock in the figure four leg lock on QT Marshall on top of the bus. So that was pretty much it. They then announced that next week another huge match has been signed. Cody Rhodes will take on QT Marshall next week at Blood and Guts, as well as a four-way tag team match will take place to determine who will face and challenge the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team Championships the following week, as it will be SCU, Jurassic Express, the Varsity Blondes, and the Acclaimed, all looking to become the next challengers to the Young Bucks and the AEW World Tag Team Championships. We also found out that in 2 weeks on Dynamite, not only will we see the Young Bucks defend their tag team championships against the winners of next week's Fatal four-way tag team match, we will also see on May 12th, in 2 weeks from tonight, Jon Moxley making a title defense of the IWGP United States Championship, as he will be taking on Japanese legend Yuji Nagata. And that is a huge match that Moxley has actually wanted. He issued the challenge, and Nagata has accepted. So 2 weeks from tonight, Moxley, Nagata for the IWGP United States Championship on Dynamite, coming up in 2 weeks. We saw a backstage segment where Miro beat up Kip Sabian. And in the main event, Darby Allin successfully retained once again the TNT Championship as he defeated Preston Vance, otherwise known as Dark Order's number 10. Afterwards, Sting and Darby would get attacked by All Ego Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, who have had their issues with Darby over the past couple of weeks. And basically, or I should even say past couple of weeks, about a month or so, that they've had issues with Darby Allin. And they beat Darby down. Scorpio Sky locked in that heel hook on Sting. And Preston Vance and Lance Archer made the save. And that was pretty much it for Dynamite this week. Then I just finished watching MLW Fusion for this week's episode. We saw Ross Von Erich defeat Dominic Garrini in 5 minutes 22 seconds. We had a Team Filthy backstage segment. We had Tom Lawler, who was scheduled to face Marshall Von Erich in the main event of this week's episode. He met with famous controversial referee Tim Donnie. We had Buku Dao defeating Hijo de L.A. Park in 6 minutes and 20 seconds. And because of this, Selena De La Renta once again failing El Jefe, the owner and proprietor of Azteca Underground. And then a little bit later on in the show, they would show footage of a masked individual that having a sack over Selena's face and dragging her and putting her in the back of this car. And then afterwards, the masked man saw the camera and the cameraman or whoever was shooting the footage started running away. So what kind of consequences await Selena De La Renta by El Jefe of Azteca Underground? They had a couple of other segments during the show that I probably missed or that I didn't write down, like Alicia Atout, the interviewer for MLW. She announced that the championship committee is made up of different promoters from around the world, from different promotions, and that MLW is currently talking with others to be a part of the committee. And she also announced that apparently the committee has some serious some title fights coming up when MLW's new season starts July 10th in Philadelphia. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with those. We heard from Marshall Von Erich, who would be interviewed and would have his interview interrupted by Tom Lawler and Tim Donnie, who asked for a bit of a sample and wanted Marshall Von Erich to take a drug test. So that was pretty much so they pretty much had Marshall pee in a cup to do the drug test. So that was pretty much it for that. We heard from Myron Reed, who next week gets his opportunity to become the middleweight champion, the world middleweight champion, when he challenges Leo Rush, who apparently no-showed a media thing that they were supposed to have, and MLW, because of this, fined Leo Rush. We heard from the national openweight champion, Alexander Hammerstone. We saw another interview segment with Tom Lawler and Marshall Von Erich, where Tim Donnie informed Filthy Tom Lawler that Marshall passed and he is ready to go. And then when Marshall walked up, he walked up with with a cup that was apparently his pee, and threw it right in Tom Lawler's face. So that was pretty much it for that. Then when they were running down things that were going to be happening next week, we would hear from Joseph Samael of Contra, where he basically told Alexander Hammerstone that as far as his challenge to Jacob Fatu, the MLW World Champion, is concerned, it is denied because apparently 1 year ago when Contra took over MLW, he rewrote, Joseph Samael rewrote a couple of contracts, and he has control over who is going to challenge Jacob Fatu or who can challenge for the world title against Jacob Fatu, and Hammerstone is not one of them. So that was pretty much it for that. Then in the main event, in 11 minutes, 41 seconds, Filthy Tom Lawler defeated Marshall Von Erich when he locked in a leg submission, and Marshall Von Erich, who had already had a damaged leg coming into the match, passed out, and the referee stopped the match. And then afterwards, a brawl would break out between the Von Erichs and ACH, who made the save when Team Filthy would attack the Von Erichs. So that was pretty much it for this week's episode of MLW Fusion. So that pretty much wraps it up. This has been my recaps of what happened on Ring of Honor's Women's Wrestling Wednesday, or Women's Wednesday Wrestling, on their official YouTube channel, AEW Dynamite and MLW Fusion. A bit of a reminder: MLW debuts on Vice TV this Saturday, May 1st at noon Eastern. They will be debuting on the Vice TV. So check your local listings for time and channel. So with that in mind, this has been my recaps of all three Ring of Honor's Women's Wrestling Wednesday, AEW Dynamite, and MLW Fusion. So as always, I am Brian, and I will see you next time. See ya.